I grew up watching a few of the Karate Kid movies, but I'm really excited to get back into the movies again. Based on the past roles that you've done with Marvel, how does it feel to, join the Karate Kid legacy, a franchise that's inspired generations for over 40 years?
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. I didn't like really grow up watching the Karate Kid films, funny enough, but when I got involved in the project, I started to like really get into the lore of it. And of course, like my parents are huge fans of Karate Kid. It's more their generation, but I had seen Cobra Kai, but I wasn't like super well versed on it. But just joining and like meeting Ralph and then obviously watching, the Jackie Chan Jaden Smith remake, it's just cool to be a part of it. It's like the ultimate underdog story. There's a white hat, there's a black hat. In this case, I'm the black hat. It's good versus evil. A lot of times, a love triangle as well. There's like, very iconic themes in these Karate Kid films, and this movie definitely shares those themes with the old ones.
I'm glad you brought that up because actually I wanted to know. So in the past, you've played a hero. And now in this movie, you're the rival. So which one is more fun for you? Is it being the savior or, the one that is shaking it up?
I actually really enjoy both. I think with Karate Kid, like I was spending a lot of time sort of trying to like justify, why Connor sort of has this hatred in his heart towards Lee. And while that like helped a lot, it also is, it is a story of the underdog. And I realized that, I played a vital role in making sure that Ben's journey throughout the movie, Lee's journey throughout the movie, feels justified by the end and feels like that feel good feeling you get when you leave a Karate Kid film. Um,
Mhm.
so I feel like sort of walking that fine line of like, sure, being an unlikable character, but also, bringing what I needed to the film for the stakes to be there. Because without a bad guy in Karate Kid, um, there's no triumph. I had a lot of fun doing the villain role, and I really like doing both. To be honest, I don't think I could choose. But I definitely enjoyed shooting Karate Kid a lot. I loved everybody on the movie. And it was just a great experience.
I bet. I mean, even from the trailer, I'm very excited to see how that, transition or that evolution of the character happens throughout the movie. What sort of training or even a mindset shift was required to sort of, place yourself as a villain in this role where technically you are also helping the main character evolve?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, from an outside personal perspective, yeah, it was cool to be around Ben. It was cool to be around obviously Jackie and Ralph and Sadie and Joshua. Everyone's so cool. You kind of want to like build everyone up as much as you can. And it's funny because the best way I could build Ben up on set was by being as mean as possible to him. So that was definitely like sort of a fun thing to play with. And him and I were, good friends. So, it was all jokes off screen. I went to we shot in Montreal. I went to Montreal about a month before we began filming. Ben had already been there 2 weeks prior to me, so he had trained for a month and a half before the film started. I trained for about a month before the film started. But I had prior training in wushu. I was on a show for a long time, 4 or 5 years, between the age of like 15 and 19. Where I was training a ton. I learned wushu from, Daniel Wu and whole Hong Kong stunt team. So I was sort of like thrown into it at a very young age and kind of feel like I had a bit of a head start. At least when it came to Karate Kid, like getting there, I could already kick. I was already fairly flexible. Um, but I would say like it was the first time where I feel like the training became very specific. It wasn't just like, oh, Aramis kicking or Aramis punching. It was like trying to actually make it look like somebody who knows karate. And at the end of the day, that's the reason why, these amazing stuntmen are on the film with us. And, while Ben and I trained and did tons of stuff, it's like, um, having those like specialized killers definitely sells it.
Awesome. And speaking of karate, how was it working with Jackie Chan on set?
It was amazing. I mean, there were a few days where I was just kind of in awe of his presence. He has this massive presence, this warm presence to him. He's so kind to everybody. I mean, if you're a grip or an executive producer, he treats you the same exact way. Knows people's names, literally will like help the stunt guys move mats around and is like tweaking mine and Ben's choreography to make it better. Really a team player and really just this enigmatic guy. He's got this like presence to him. Obviously, he's Jackie Chan, so people listen to him, but he just has this presence and this confidence that's like so admirable. Like I just thought the whole time I was like, if I could harness like 10% of this guy's confidence, like I'll be all right my whole life. And I mean there were a few days on set just seeing his prowess with movie fighting and seeing his prowess with comedy and the way things play and also his self-awareness of being this like leading man action star his whole life who's now, Jackie, I think he's 71 or so now. Um, so there's like sort of always this joke of like, I'm Jackie Chan, but also, I'm 71 now, I might look like your grandpa, but I'm still Jackie Chan. Uh, and he's just a great guy. I mean, he'd come with his entourage, he'd be driving the Sprinter van, he wouldn't even let his driver drive, and he'd invite us all to dinner after, and he threw this big party that I actually didn't get to go to because I think I was out of town or something. Like when the movie first started, he did this like whole big party for the whole crew and everybody got together. Yeah, honestly, it was incredible. And then Ralph, like, honestly, like, first off, I was very just surprised that he wasn't from the Valley. I think watching Karate Kid immediately, I was just like, oh, this guy's got to be from Encino or like, because I'm from Woodland Hills. So kind of funny that this movie now takes place in New York when this all began, literally miles away from where I was born. Pretty amazing. But yeah, Ralph, I mean, such a sweet guy, really the heart and soul of this thing. And I mean, he created this whole universe, like those
Yeah.
films were like transcendent, and him as Daniel LaRusso and just sort of seeing him now sort of progress into this mentor. He's not the mentee anymore. Obviously, it's been that way for a long time with Cobra Kai now, but yeah, it was just really cool to be in the presence of all those people and to like feel like you belong and to feel, supported by your cast members.
That's amazing to hear. What is one important quote or an important moment from the Karate Kid that has stuck with you and is something that you're going to take forward or embed into your life?
Mm, I don't know if there's a quote, but there was this sort of like overwhelming feeling of gratitude while I was on that movie. And I feel like I spent a lot of time as a kid, as a young actor, sort of taking the things I was doing for granted and not realizing how lucky I am to be in the position I'm in. Because being an actor is really hard. It sends you down this road of like comparing yourself to a lot of other people and why are they doing that and I'm not doing that? Why, it can leave you feeling like the nerd in school, like you're not a part of the cool kids a lot. But I feel like Karate Kid, because it's sort of coming later in my career. I'm only 25, but I've been doing it 20 years now.
Mhm.
When everybody pulled up knowing exactly what they were going to do, I felt like it was a really good way to sort of like set off into my sort of like adult career. So I would say, if anything, it was just gratitude. I was just grateful to be there, grateful to be a part of it, and just trying to push all of the imposter syndrome away as much as possible, I guess.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
You.